The sun beat down on Raleigh's quiet suburbs, a lazy Saturday begging for a break. Angela Brooks, 48 and bone-tired, stepped out her back door with nothing but a beach towel, a pair of shades, and a cold soda cradled in her hand. After weeks of non-stop shifts, crime stats, rookie evaluations, and city council headaches, she'd earned this. 8 years in this gated little pocket of North Carolina, her brick house paid off, her name etched in the HOA's good graces. The community pool was her reward, a short stroll away, and today, she'd claim it. She slipped through the gate in flip-flops, her loose tank top fluttering over cut-off shorts, hair swept into a messy ponytail. No uniform, no title, just a woman craving quiet. Sean, the lifeguard, barely looked up from his phone. "Hey, Ms. Brooks," he mumbled, familiar enough after a dozen summers. She tossed him a wave, snagged a chair by the deep end, and sank into it with a sigh that felt like letting go. The pool hummed with life, retirees lounging with magazines, kids cannonballing, a dad juggling floaties for his squirming preschooler. Angela cracked her soda, the fizz cutting through the heat, and let her eyes drift shut. Peace lasted maybe 10 minutes. Footsteps, sharp, purposeful, snapped her back. She peeked through her shades. A guy loomed nearby, tall, white, mid-40s, khakis pressed too crisp for a pool day. No towel, no swim trunks, just a pinched frown. "Excuse me," he said, voice dripping with that fake nice edge, "you live here?" Angela straightened, soda still in hand. "Yeah, I do." He crossed his arms, smirking faint. "Huh. Funny, I've never seen you. This pool's residents only." She tilted her head, calm. 8 years, 4 houses down. "I'm here plenty." His smirk faltered, but his stance didn't. Trouble had found her, and it wasn't backing off yet. Angela sized him up, Mark Tanner, she'd later learn, new to the block and itching to play gatekeeper. His HOA welcome packet poked out of his pocket, crisp as his attitude. 8 years, huh, he said, voice tight. "Guess I missed you." "Still, we've had outsiders sneaking in, rules are rules." Angela set her soda down, slow and deliberate. "I came through the gate like everybody else. Name's Angela Brooks, check the directory if you want." He snorted, a dry little laugh. "Right. Look, I just moved in. I'm Mark. I care about this place, okay?" She nodded, unfazed. "Good to know, Mark. I've been here since you were still unpacking boxes." His jaw twitched, he didn't like that. Around them, the pool ticked on, kids shrieking, water lapping, but a few heads turned, sensing the vibe shift. "You don't have a key card out," he pressed, pointing at her bag. "It's in there," she said, not moving to grab it. He stepped closer, voice dropping. "Then show it." "I'm not trying to be a jerk, just keeping things legit." Angela leaned back, cool as ever. "You're welcome to call the HOA, Mark. They'll tell you who I am." He huffed, pacing a tight circle. "I've been here a month, never seen you. Neighbors usually cross paths." She shrugged. "Maybe you've been looking past me." That hit a nerve, his eyes narrowed, but he kept pushing. "Make it easy, show the card, or I'll get security." Angela met his stare, voice steady. "I don't owe you proof for sitting at my own pool." A ripple of attention spread. Jim, an older guy with a fishing hat, glanced over from his chair, eyebrow raised. Mark didn't notice, too locked in his own script. He wasn't done digging yet. Mark planted himself firmer, blocking a sliver of Angela's sun. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," he said, voice sharp now. "If you've got nothing to hide, just show me." Angela didn't budge. "You decided I don't belong before you even asked my name. I'm not here to ease your mind, Mark." His face tightened, a muscle jumping in his cheek. "It's not personal, I've got a kid. What if some sketchy type waltzed in here? She tilted her head. And I'm the sketchy type to you? He froze, caught, but doubled down. Rules matter. That's all. The pool's hum softened. Jim set his magazine down. Doris, a silver-haired retiree, peered over her sunglasses. Angela's tone stayed even. You saw a black woman by herself and figured something's off. Didn't ask, didn't check, just accused. That's on you. Mark's mouth opened, then shut. It's not like that, he stammered, quieter now. Then what's it like? She pressed, calm but cutting. He shifted, glancing around as eyes multiplied. Sean the lifeguard pulled an earbud out. A teen by the water edged closer, phone in hand but not recording. I'm just looking out for the place, Mark muttered, defensive. You're the loud one here, Angela replied. Jim chuckled low from his chair, she's got you there. Mark's flush deepened, but he clung to his line. Show the card, prove me wrong, and we're done. Angela leaned forward, voice dropping. You could have said hi, asked if I was new. Instead, you rolled up like a wannabe cop. I don't jump for you. The teen smirked. Doris nodded faintly. Mark's control was slipping, and the crowd was waking up. He wasn't the only one watching anymore. Mark straightened, trying to claw back ground. Fine, I'll call the HOA, let them handle it. Angela shrugged. Go ahead. Tell them exactly how you walked up and told me to leave. He hesitated, thrown by her calm. I've lived here 8 years, she added, sat on the safety board twice. My name's on the website, Angela Brooks. His eyes flickered, doubt creeping in. Sean stood now, calling over, everything cool, Ms. Brooks? She waved him off. We're fine, Sean. Mark blinked, clocking the recognition, but his pride wouldn't fold. Doris piped up from her chair, voice firm. Angela, want me to grab Ted from the board? He's home. Angela smiled faintly. No need, Doris, just a mix-up. Mark's stance softened, arms dropping. If you're really Angela Brooks, he said, quieter, guess I owe you an apology. She raised a brow. Guess? He forced a laugh, shaky. I didn't know, you're not exactly shouting it. She held his gaze. Should I have to? He didn't answer, fumbling now as the pool's eyes pinned him. Jim, Doris, the teen, even the dad with the floaties kid. Angela reached into her bag, not rushed, not dramatic, and pulled out her badge case. She flipped it open, gold glinting, Raleigh Police Chief Angela Brooks. Mark stepped back, jaw slack. You were saying something about rules, she asked, voice smooth. He swallowed hard. I didn't know. She stood, badge still out. You assumed. That's the loud part. The teen's jaw dropped, Doris smirked. Mark's bluff had crumbled, and Angela hadn't raised her voice once, she didn't need to. Mark stood there, deflated, the badge's shine burning into his silence. I didn't mean it like that, he mumbled, scratching his neck. Angela closed the case, dropping it back in her bag. Yeah, you did. You just didn't expect pushback. She sat again, reclaiming her chair like nothing had happened. You wanted to flex, problem is, you picked someone who doesn't bend. Jim called over, pool's all yours, Chief. Doris nodded. We know you, Angela, always have. Mark's face burned, but he had no comeback. He turned, muttering something lost in the splash of kids diving back in. Angela slid her shades on, took a sip of soda, and let the tension bleed out. Sean plopped back in his chair, earbuds in, while the dad wrestled his toddler into the water with a laugh. The pool reset, normalcy creeping back, but the air held a new hum. As she stretched out, a teen by the edge, maybe 15, braids swinging, watched her, phone still down but eyes wide. Angela caught it, nodded slightly. No gloating, no scene, just presence. Mark slunk off, shoulders low, the HOA pamphlet crumpled in his pocket. By late afternoon, whispers had already started. Walking back, towel over her arm, Angela caught snippets from neighbors by the lot. That new guy, total clown. She's the police chief, right? Dude had no clue. She didn't stop, just kept her stride even, sandals tapping the pavement. The day wasn't about him anymore, it was about what stuck with the ones who'd seen it go down. That evening, Angela stood in her kitchen, slicing peppers for a quick stir-fry, nothing fancy, just something to wind down. Her phone buzzed, a text from her friend Tara, 2 blocks over. Heard you shut down some pool jerk today, badge drop for the win? Angela smirked, typing back, didn't drop it, just showed it. She didn't chase the spotlight, never had, but the story was already rolling. A soft knock pulled her away. Doris stood at the door, still in her pool hat, holding a foil pan. Extra cornbread, she said, casual. Figured you earned it. Angela took it, warm in her hands. Thanks, Doris, that's sweet. Doris lingered. You handled him good, cool as ice. Folks noticed. Angela leaned on the frame. Just doing me. Doris nodded. Not just the mess, the grace too. She left with a wave, leaving Angela with the words and the pan. Back inside, more texts trickled in. Jim, you're a rock, let me know if you need backup. Sean, sorry I didn't jump in, Chief, won't freeze next time. She didn't need the props, but they stacked up like quiet nods to a foundation she'd built without fanfare. Next morning, she laced up for her usual jog, sun barely up, Raleigh still sleepy. At the community board, a flyer caught her eye, Know Your Neighbors, with an old photo of her in uniform, shaking hands at a picnic. Someone had scribbled below, to the guy who told her to leave, read up. She chuckled, dry, grounded, and kept moving. A teen jogger slowed, earbud dangling. You're the chief, right? That was dope yesterday. Angela smiled. Thanks, but standing up's not dope, it's normal. The girl nodded, thoughtful, then ran off. The ripple was spreading. By Sunday, the pool clash had legs, nothing loud, just a hum through Raleigh's cul-de-sacs. Angela hit corner brew for her usual black coffee. Jonah, the barista, grinned as she walked in. Chief Brooks, you're blowing up on Next Door, pool guy versus legend. She rolled her eyes, half smiling. Didn't do much. He slid her cup over. That's why it's sticking, folks love the chill. She left with a nod, checking her phone. An email from her station assistant popped up, a forum post screenshot. Saw a woman at the pool get hassled, turns out she's our chief. Handled it like a pro. Respect matters. 20+ comments, all solid. Later, 9-year-old Mateo from next door bounced up with her garden hose. Miss Angela, did you arrest that guy at the pool? She laughed, crouching. Nah, just surprised him. His eyes widened. Mom said he freaked when he saw you're the police boss. She grinned. Sometimes people guess wrong, it's better to ask. He nodded, serious, and handed over the hose. You're awesome. She ruffled his hair. You too, kid. Alone again, she stood in her doorway, the day sinking in, how many times she'd been sized up, dismissed, all because of how she looked. This time, they'd seen her steady. Monday's routine kicked in, uniform on, badge clipped, coffee brewing. Her phone buzzed, Ted, HOA Prez. Talked to Mark, he's backing off. Won't happen again. She replied, good. Let's keep it from happening to anyone. It wasn't just Mark, it was the quiet digs that slip by, the ones that teach kids to judge fast. She'd drawn a line, not with noise, but with calm, and that stuck deeper than any showdown. Monday morning rolled steady. Angela zipped up her uniform, the badge catching light on her chest. She glanced in the mirror, same face, same grind, over 20 years in the game. Nothing flashy, just a woman who'd climbed with grit, not glory. What Mark pulled at the pool wasn't new, those polite but pointed jabs were old hat, the kind that hide behind, just checking, and fester if you let them. This time, though, it didn't slide. She'd held up a mirror, calm, clear, and folks saw it. Her coffee brewed as she scrolled her phone, a new message popped from an unknown number. It was a note, short and clean. Chief Brooks, I don't know you, but I was there Saturday. My kid saw too. You showed her Grace beats barking any day. Thanks, neighbor. She folded it into her mind like a keepsake, no sender needed. At the station, a clerk dropped off misrouted mail, bills, memos, then a handwritten envelope. Inside, I saw how you stood up without standing over. My daughter learned more from that than school. Thank you for the difference. No name, just truth. Angela tucked it in her drawer, not for ego, but for weight. Back home that night, she kicked off her boots, the day's dust settling. Mark didn't matter, never did. It was the quiet watchers, the teen, Mateo, the parents, who carried it forward. She didn't need to fix him, she'd shown what steady looks like, and maybe one of them would step up next time someone got cornered for just being. The badge sat on the counter, still, but its real work happened poolside, 10 minutes of calm that hit harder than years of noise. Tuesday dawned cool, Raleigh easing into its rhythm. Angela laced up for her jog, the streets hushed except for a stray sprinkler's hiss. Passing the clubhouse, she spotted that flyer again, Know Your Neighbors, her face in uniform, the pen jab at Mark still sharp. Word had woven through, lawn chats, texts, coffee runs, and it showed. At Corner Brew, Jonah nodded her in. Still the talk, Chief, folks say you schooled him without breaking a sweat. She grabbed her cup. Just sat there, Jonah. He grinned. That's the trick. She left, the buzz trailing her like a shadow. By afternoon, Mateo's mom waved from her yard. Heard you're a legend now, Mateo won't stop bragging about you. Angela laughed soft. He's a good kid. The woman nodded. He's learning from the best. Later, Sean texted, Chief, you're solid, got your back anytime. Small bricks, stacking up, respect she'd earned not with flash, but with quiet. At the pool that weekend, heads turned, not gawking, just knowing. A kid splashing near the edge glanced her way, whispering to his friend. Angela caught it, smiled faint, and kept walking. The air had shifted, not loud, just sure. The week eased out, Raleigh's hum softening as summer stretched thin. Angela hit the pool one last time before her next shift cycle, towel slung over her shoulder, soda in hand. No Mark, no tension, just water and chatter. She settled into her chair, the same spot, and let the sun soak in. A kid, maybe 10, all elbows and curiosity, sidled up. You're the police lady, right? She nodded. That's me. He grinned. My sister said you scared that guy off without yelling. Angela chuckled. Didn't scare him, just surprised him. He squinted. Can you teach me that? She leaned in. Stand tall, kid. That's step one. He scampered off, satisfied, and Angela watched him go. It wasn't about Mark anymore, never really was. It was the ripple, Mateo's wide eyes, the teen's quiet awe, the parents who'd nodded from the sidelines. She hadn't raised her voice, hadn't needed to. The badge was just metal, her calm carried the weight. Back home, she hung her uniform, badge glinting on the counter. Dennis didn't change, but maybe someone else did, someone who'd think twice before judging a stranger in their own space. That's what stuck, dignity doesn't shout, it stands. Monday came, routine clicking back, coffee, collar, quiet. She'd faced worse than Mark Tanner, would again. But this time, the mirror held, steady, unflinching, and Raleigh saw it. Not a hero, just a woman who'd earned her spot and wouldn't shrink from it. Next time someone tests that line, they'd remember her, not the noise, but the calm that cut deeper. Thanks for sticking with Angela's story, folks. If it hit you, made you nod or think twice, drop a subscribe. We've got more like this coming, real people, real stakes, no fluff. Appreciate you being here.